Part 93. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 928. After all, the certificate was not received. Cai Kinghu called Tanjeo away, saying that he had something to discuss about Han Qian. Cai Kinghu called Wen Nuan, and the girl drove to pick up Han Qian. Now Han Qian is like a child who has not grown up. He is passed around by several girls. After getting in the car, Wen Nuan asked Han Qian where he was going. Han Qian touched his belly. A little hungry. Nuan glanced at Han Qian's two bare paws and said slightly weakly. I can't feed you. I can eat it myself. If I don't eat noodles, I'll be fine. Wen Nuan drove Han Qian to a fast food restaurant. Everything here is self-service and costs 20 yuan per person. There is no limit. Han Qian struggled to hold a spoon while Wen Nuan held a bowl of steamed pig blood and scooped it. A spoonful was fed to Han Qian, who shook his head with a conflicted face. Nuan curled his lips, took a mouthful of pig blood, and said vaguely. After thinking about it for 50 days. I finally figured out why you said, I want to take Luo Shen away. Han Qian raised his head, then raised his bare paw and gave Nuan a thumbs up. You figured it out in just 50 days? That's pretty fast. Nuan glared at Han Qian and said calmly. I'm a bit stupid, but I'm not stupid. Didn't Lin Zongheng just want you to be in a dilemma? Han Qian, did Luo Shen understand it at that time? Han Qian sighed, nodded, and then ate with a big gulp. When Nuan put down the bowl, took out a paper towel and wiped his hands. Then he picked up the chicken leg on Han Qian's plate and took a bite. It seemed to taste pretty good, and then he tore the chicken into strips. He stuffed it into Han Qian's mouth and said while stuffing it. Then Luo Shen hates you so much. How did you make this decision? Han Qian raised his head and glanced at Wen Nuan, then stretched out his hands to hold the water glass and drank a large glass of water. Han Qian breathed a sigh of relief. How can you feed me like this and pinch your lips if you don't eat? Luo Shen must hate me to death. Now I am worried that she will suddenly target me. If she wants to take revenge on me, I may not be able to handle it. Live. Nuan chuckled. If you can't beat her, just run away. If she chases us, just run away. I don't have any other abilities. I can run fast with my long legs. Han Qian. Luo Shen can't be a mother anymore. Han Qian trembled as he ate a big meal, and then continued to stuff his rice. Nuan wiped his hands, put his chin on one hand, looked at Han Qian, sighed and said. It's too cruel to deprive a woman of her right to be a mother. If Luo Shen comes over and slaps you too, that's right. Han Qian raised his head and frowned. Is your head not working well? If I don't go, Luo Shen will die. If you don't go, I will die. In Luo Shen's heart, you are not going for her. I took a risk for her. Yes, I know. Why are you such a straight man? No one said that what you did was not good enough. Even if it is not good, I am not qualified to say anything about you. Wen Nuan continued to feed Han Qian meat. This lunch almost pushed Han Qian to death. After the meal, Han Qian sat in the car. Wen Nuan lit a cigarette for him and asked where he wanted to go. Han Qian said softly. I want to see Yao Guangda. No, I'll call Yanhu to pick you up, but I won't go. I went and sat there like an idiot. I didn't want to talk, and I didn't know what to say, let alone I like strangers talking to me. Seeing the resistance on Nuan's face, Han Qian said helplessly. My warmth, you can't do this. I can't retire for the time being. Your social disorder needs to be treated. Yan Qingqing can't do it. She already knows that Yao Guangda is causing trouble behind her back. She will definitely give her a Yao Guang is a big stick, no, no, no. Ji Jing. She's like Do, no. You poems. She doesn't know anything else but work. Yates. No, she was my secretary last time. Besides, Yao Guangda, an old man like me, is still thinking about Yates. Nursery rhyme. Do you believe we can argue all the way? She might run back halfway. Cai King Hu. Yes, yes, Cai King Hu, she can do it. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at Nuan helplessly, and said helplessly. Are you going to surrender now? If I want to take King Hu with me, Bin Hai will gradually think. I don't care, I'm not going anyway. As for this Kang Tu King, Han Qian was helpless because of the cowardly temper in the family. As Nuan said, she was like an ice cube sitting there, throwing away half of the cigarette in her mouth. Let's go to the old department store and play video games. Nuan turned around and asked. Are you okay today? Today is all about playing with you. By walk. Go for a run, didn't you tell me you can run fast with your long legs? Walk. As long as the business is not mentioned, the warm motivation is always sufficient. This is a bit similar to Cai King Hu, but King Hu doesn't have stage fright when it comes to business, right? How to cure the social disorder of Nuan? This is a question worth pondering. When Han Qian and Wen Nuan walked into the main entrance of the department store, the manager on the first floor ran over to greet them. They were afraid that this disaster star would destroy the department store and sent them all the way to the fourth floor. Wen Nuan pulled the bear's paw holding Han Qian and whispered softly. Road. The boss of Lao department store is a bit powerful. Our department stores, Changxiang and Glory, have been competing with him for so many years. Lao department store is like a big tree, while Changxiang and Glory are nothing more than woodpeckers. Han Qian frowned and smiled. The gap is so big. Nuan nodded helplessly. It's very big. The old department store has been in Bin Hai for 40 years. He's older than both of us. Last time you made such a big fuss here, how could Chen Zhan not get angry at the old department store? What's the result? No, nothing happened. It is said that the boss here is a woman, and there is an old man in the family who has been on the battlefield. I heard my uncle talk about it. Han Qian was a little curious and asked softly. Chen Zhan didn't even look down upon his uncle. Nuan said lightly. It's different. My uncle has never fought in a war, and this old man died on the battlefield, protecting a certain super boss. Not to mention Chen Zhan, even Lao Gu probably had to give him some face, and what's more, the landlady is very beautiful. Li Jinhe said that before Bin Hai was divided into an independent city, she was the city's beauty. Han Qian frowned and smiled. What are you doing? One more person is not much, but he is a little older, maybe 40. Sister Wen is wrong, she is 39 years old. A female voice came from behind. Han Qian and Wen Nuan turned around suddenly. At some point, a woman appeared behind them. She was wearing a black cotton handmade cheongsam with a hairpin on her head. She was dressed in the style of the Republic of China. It was weird and beautiful. The woman is about 31 or 12 years old. She wears light makeup and holds a small fan in her hand. She has a slim figure and a delicate face. She is dressed in a charming way. She has a smile on her face, but her cold temperament makes people feel a little oppression. Queen. Very queen. This is the only word in Han Qian and Nuan's mind that can describe this woman. The woman stepped forward and looked at Wen Nuan up and down. At first, she wanted to test Wen Nuan's aura, but she gave up instantly. She hid behind Han Qian and revealed half of her face. The next second, the folding fan in the woman's hand lifted Han Qian's chin. Narrowed his eyes and smiled. You are a very handsome young man, but your anger is too strong. His hands are not stained with blood, but his body is soaked in a pool of blood. If I were a few years older, I might not mind keeping you by my side. A face. Just as Han Qian was about to raise his hand to hit the fan, the woman said again. Sister Jin, he has chatted with me several times, saying how powerful her son-in-law is. Looking at the injuries all over his body, it's just like that. He has a handle in his crotch, but it's his mother-in-law who does things. Your mother-in-law harmed the little kid in Beijing. Girl, a junior member of the Lin family forced you to do this, and that's all you can do. Han Qian raised his bare paw and was slapped by the fan. Han Qian's face was distorted by the pain. Wen Nuan stretched out his hand and pressed it weakly on the fan, whispering. Boy, he's got a broken finger. I know. Han Qian tilted his head and frowned. What do you do? The woman is not angry either, she just giggles. Me. I'm just a woman with no power, and no man. Xiao Nuan, didn't you just say that you wanted Han Qian to take me into his pocket? In this case, it might not be Cai Qinghu who receives the certificate. Han Qian hugged the warm arm, turned around and left, whispering. Don't pay attention to her, this woman is sick. Tong Tong is a nice little girl, I like her very much. After saying this, Han Qian turned around with a smile on his face and said flatteringly. Do you know nursery rhymes? Tell me earlier, beatings are boring. Nuan Nuan, please bring the chair to Auntie. Auntie, you can do it? I have no other ability, so I will resist the beating. Auntie, what's your name? The woman's face was full of astonishment, she frowned and looked at Han Qian, and gritted her teeth. What did you call me? Auntie. No. Auntie, you can call me Mom. Trickster. The woman turned around and left, losing some of her elegance. Han Qian looked at the woman's back and curled his lips. Are you making trouble with me? A buddy can only be ranked second if he resists beatings. In this straight man's time in Binhai, he is ranked first, and no one dares to be ranked second. When Han Qian was feeling complacent, the manager on the first floor ran up to him, bowed and handed Han Qian a card. Master Han, young mistress. This is a gift from my lady. Han Qian watched Nuan Nuan beating the zombies, glanced at the card in the manager's hand from the corner of his eye, and said calmly. Tell him I don't accept support and ask her how much it costs per year. The manager looked embarrassed and whispered. Master Han, I personally suggest that you don't provoke my eldest lady. The scar on Tu Xiao's face was cut by my eldest lady herself. This is a 1 million shopping card for the department store. The eldest lady said that if you don't accept it, I'll jump into the blender myself. Han Qian's hands were shaking slightly when he accepted the card, and he said awkwardly. What else did your lady say? My lady said that when you see her in the future, you should either hide away or kneel down. This, I'd better hide away. Is your lady really single? This, single means single, recently single. Oh my God. You are really decent. Auntie is very good at playing. Aunt. The manager panicked and quickly covered Han Qian's mouth and said urgently. Master Han, when Tu Xiao called my lady, he was stabbed in the face. After that, Guan Daegu knelt naked at the door of the department store for 3 or 9 days before he finally calmed down. I know you are not afraid of my family. Miss, but this, harmony brings wealth, harmony brings wealth. Huh? Then I called Auntie twice and gave me a card. Special care. Hey, my lady said what you were wearing was too shabby. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 929. Han Qian was not polite and took Wen Nuan to buy something in the department store. They both had sore legs and only spent half of it, so they still ordered a special diamond ring for Wen Nuan. Han Qian wanted to call Suliang to come over to spend money, but was stopped by Wen Nuan, saying that it was better not to let Suliang get involved in this. This woman was not mentally normal. If she regrets it tomorrow, she may have to get the money back. After saying this, Han Qian went to refund the money, and the manager almost knelt down in front of Han Qian. When I got home, the car was packed and I bought dozens of sets of clothes for both men and women. Wen Nuan took Qian's mother and the old man to try on clothes. Han Qian was lying on the bed in the west room with Guan Degu and Suliang. Video chat. While chatting, they came up with this strange woman. When he mentioned this woman, Guan Yunbiao's face became very embarrassed and he spoke loudly. Qian, you'd better not provoke this woman. She is really low-key and really awesome. Is my master fierce? He cursed and got stabbed, then was thrown in and squatted for 7 days. Damn it, I knelt all night in the heavy snow, and finally I got one sentence, if I don't go away, I will light the sky lantern. Suliang exclaimed. So fierce. Guan Yunbiao nodded. Very fierce, but this woman is very low-key and doesn't live in Binhai very often. Qian, how did you meet this, sister? Han Qian smiled. I met her when I went to a department store with Nuan. I called her aunt twice. After saying that, Guan Yunbiao stood up in a hurry, took his cell phone and ran away, and Han Qian shouted. What are you doing? Choose a place with good feng shui for you. You, she scolded me and gave me a shopping card for a department store. She originally wanted to call you two to come over and spend money, but then. Fortunately, nothing happened. Liang, please don't go. This woman has a very weird temper. She may ask you to pay back the money tomorrow. Let's not talk anymore. Get in bed. Guan Yunbiao ran away, and Han Qian asked how Suliang's leg was. Suliang immediately wanted to perform a one-word horse, but the performance failed. The phone fell to the ground and lost the image. It must have been broken. Han Qian laughed and stood. He got up and walked out of the room. When he saw his mother when he went out, Han Qian was frightened. Oh my God, you must be a fat sheep if you want to go out like this. At this time, Qian's mother was wearing a mink coat, with 4 or 5 rings, earrings, sunglasses, and gold bracelets on her hands. Qian's mother laughed, and Han Qian pinched his throat and said. My name is Bayun. Nuan followed. I am Kuratsuke. The family of 4 was laughing from ear to ear. When Nuan was busy dressing up her father-in-law and mother-in-law. Everyone knew that it was Cai Qinghu who received the certificate, but everyone familiar with her knew that Wen Nuan was the daughter-in-law of Han Qian's Han family. Only she would take a big gold chain and force the old man to wear it, then hold her chin and say something silly. Now Nuan no longer returns to her home in Imperial City Garden, but the rent is still being paid. Han Qian doesn't care about this. She can have fun as much as she wants. Han Qian is satisfied if she is happy. As for promoting Wen Nuan to become the chairman of Changxiang, it may be Han Qian's biggest failure. There are no such things in her head at all. In the middle of the night, Han Qian woke up from the pain. He sat on the bed and looked at the warmth of his sound sleep. He didn't know what the girl was dreaming about. He hugged Han Qian's hand and couldn't sleep anymore. He got up and walked out of the door, looking at the girl who was still sitting there. The old man in the living room, Han Qian frowned. Why are you not sleeping yet? The old man sighed. Your mother is not feeling well. She disliked my snoring and being too noisy, so she was kicked out. I'm afraid my fingers will be broken when I wake up from your daughter-in-law's misfortune. The father and son sat on the sofa, smoking and looking at the roof. At 1 o'clock, the old man asked Han Qian if he was hungry. Han Qian touched his stomach and nodded. He hadn't eaten at night, so he was really hungry now. The old man stood up and went to the kitchen. About 20 minutes later, 4 dishes and 1 soup were served. Han Qian said with a smile. My biological father, you cooked 4 vegetables and stewed soup for me late at night. The old man smiled naively. I can't use this little bit of ability, so I'll be fine just taking care of my wife and children. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, stir-fried noodles with sauerkraut, vinegar meatballs, stir-fried pork, and a bowl of cabbage soup. The old man opened a bottle of beer and gave his son a glass, saying softly, drink less and have a good night's sleep. You don't like eating meatballs the most. Han Qian took a sip of wine, picked up the meatballs and threw them into his mouth, smiling. Old man, you are really admirable. Have you never felt so wronged in your life? The old man raised his head and drank half a bottle of beer, smiling. Your mother is not wronged, so why should I be wronged? You are better than Dad. Dad can't make money and always thinks money is useless. When your mother was hospitalized, I almost sold my kidney. Han Qian smiled. 200,000. I used to think that 200,000 was an astronomical number, but now that I think about it, it's just such a small pile. Old man, what should I do if I don't like children? There will be people who like it, such as Tong Tong. Are you sure you want to get the certificate from King Hu? Your mother said that your current choice is the only way to solve your love debt. The old man gave Han Qian a bowl of rice and pressed it again and again. Han Qian said with a bitter smile. I'm not stupid, I'll be there for a while. Hey, eat more and Dad will be happy. Is Xianyuan okay with your choice? Han Qian nodded and the old man said again. Where's your mother-in-law? Then Changxiang group should shut up. What can I do? I have finally discovered that the reason why I am covered in injuries like this is because there are too many girls around me, and I even hurt one. The old man smiled. The one in Beijing. Han Qian nodded, and then started to put the dishes on the plate. The old man immediately picked up the chopsticks and slapped Han Qian on the arm, frowning. What are you doing? Are you looking for the meat in the sauerkraut? Didn't I fry the meat for you? I like eating sour food. Don't turn over. Why? Squeak. The door to the west room opened, Nuan hugged a teddy bear, rubbed his eyes and mumbled. Dad, you two won't sleep. He walked to Han Qian with his eyes closed, and then opened his mouth. Han Qian laughed angrily, tapped Nuan's flat belly with his bare paw, frowned and smiled. Where have you eaten all this food? When Nuan snatched Han Qian's bowl, picked up a piece of meat with chopsticks and stuffed it into his mouth, mumbling. I just watched you eat at noon, and I forgot to eat when I was playing with Mom at night. I'm already hungry, Dad. Can you give me a glass of water? I don't want to leave. Start acting like a baby again. The old man nodded with a smile, drank a glass of cold water for warmth, and said with a smile. I know you didn't eat at night. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at the old man, frowning. Didn't you just fire it for me? The old man whispered. It's all the same. Didn't I slip you a plate of meatballs and sauerkraut? I asked why eggs are sweet. Are you my father? The old man smiled naively. Xiaonuan is also my daughter. Turning grief and anger into appetite, Han Qian took a spoon and stuffed the meatballs into his mouth, curling his lips in disdain. I don't eat sour food, and I won't compete with you. Why did you wake up hungry in the middle of the night? Han Qian turned around and glared at Wen Nuan. You bit my hand and you didn't know. Nonsense, I slept honestly, Dad. Han Qian wronged me. The old man watched the quarrel between his son and his daughter-in-law, drinking wine one after another. Drinking with the happiness of his children and grandchildren may be the best dish for an old man to drink with. The book is not finished as quickly as you think. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 930. Early in the morning, Han Qian opened the courtyard door in his pajamas, and then saw two idiots kneeling at the door. Han Qian tilted his head and looked at Su Hongchang and Kui Li, and closed the courtyard door the next second. Kui Li glanced at Su Hongchang with confused eyes, then lowered his head and continued to kneel. Su Hongchang smiled. This smile made Kui Li feel unsure and whispered, "The two of us have been in big trouble, how can you still laugh? Then can I still cry?" Not long after, Han Qian dressed neatly and opened the door again. Su Hongchang hurriedly got up and opened the door, followed closely by Kui Li. After getting in the car, Su Hongchang handed Han Qian a cigarette, Kui Li handed him Huoer, and Han Qian held the cigarette in his bear's paw and said calmly, "My broken finger hasn't healed in almost 2 months. Kui Li, are you okay?" Kui Li nodded. Su Hongchang started the car and said softly, "Master." In order to be discharged from the hospital as soon as possible, Kui Li does rehabilitation training every day. He works very hard. The doctor has warned him many times, but he doesn't listen. He said he made a mistake this time and is shameless. Okay. No need to intercede for Kui Li, Kui Li. I remember I told you that if Feng Lun's people find you, you can choose to submit to Feng Lun's camp whether I am present or not. Forgot. When Han Qian went to press the window button, Su Hongchang had already lowered the window with quick eyes and hands. Kui Li lowered his head and said in a low voice, "I haven't forgotten it. I remember it very clearly. When I met Zhang Shengli, I did choose to be a bad boy, but Zhang Shengli asked me to kill Yates to show that what I said was true. Then, it was my wife incompetent." Han Qian nodded and sighed. Indeed, Feng Lun's suspicious character will definitely think of it. At least everyone is still alive this time, here you go. Don't make such mistakes in the future. When someone goes missing, just swallow the gun yourself. A pistol was thrown to Kui Li, who took it and pinned it behind his waist. Han Qian said again. Feng Lun was left in Binhai. Your status is not suitable for meeting him alone. I won't go to see him for a short time. If you have anything to say, you can ask for nursery rhymes, but this woman's the brain circuit is not normal, so be mentally prepared in advance. Kui Li tilted his head, thought for a while, and whispered, I'm afraid of Teacher Tong. Han Qian frowned. What are you afraid of her doing? She's not a tiger. Master, don't talk about Kui Li, I am also afraid of young Mistress Tong. Han Qian took a deep breath and sighed. Actually, I'm a little scared of her too. Different pictures appeared in the minds of the three grown men, all related to nursery rhymes. Shivering. At the gate of the community, I saw Cai Qinghu buying pancakes and fruits, and Han Qian leaned against the window and whispered softly. Why is she wearing work clothes, huh? You think the prosecutor's clothes are pretty, what a big robe. Kui Li was a little unnatural, Su Hongchang smiled. The young lady has such a strong aura that she looks stylish no matter what she wears. Han Qian turned his head and whispered. Don't let Nuan hear this big word. She can live her whole life without saying a word to you, okay? Shut up, she's here. Su Hongchang got out of the car and opened the door. Madam Cai got in the car, hugged Han Qian's neck and kissed him hard. Then she handed 2 pancakes to Su Hongchang and Kui Li, squinting and smiling. Looking at you three sneaking around in the car, you must be talking about nothing good. Send me to the court. Feng Lun will be convicted and tried today. Su Hongchang nodded. Kui Li took the pancake and fruit and said thank you to the young lady. Cai Qinghu narrowed his eyes and smiled. Don't call me young mistress. From now on, call me madam. I have a small book. Han Qian held the pancake fruit in both hands and mumbled. You haven't yet, haven't you? Cai King Hu turned around and glared at Han Qian. You want to regret it? The voice came out between his teeth. Han Qian quickly shook his head and ate pancakes with his head down. Su Hongchang drove to the court. Cai King Hu took out his work permit and then pointed at the three guys behind him. The person at the door nodded helplessly. The three people observed the trial, and Cai King Hu was the prosecutor of the trial. At the beginning of the trial, Cai King Hu read about the crimes Feng Lun had committed. Han Qian was drowsy after hearing this debate, and Kui Li kept his head down until noon, when the result was confirmed. Life imprisonment. No reduction in sentence. Don't enjoy any preferential treatment. Han Qian had known this result for a long time. When he stood up and left, Feng Lun suddenly spoke. Han Qian. Everyone looked at the little overlord in Binhai. Han Qian did not turn around, waved to Feng Lun, left the court with Kui Li and Su Hongchang, and sat in the hall. Han Qian lit a cigarette and just took a puff. After receiving a slap on the back of his head, Han Qian frowned and turned around. Looking at the 60-year-old judge, Han Qian straightened his clothes and bowed deeply. The old judge said calmly. Do you think you have already taken the law into your hands and are acting unscrupulously here? Han Qian spoke quickly. Don't dare. Xiao Qian has never had such a confused idea. Everything is carried out in accordance with the law. Xiao Qian never dares to interfere in this matter. The old judge curled his lips, took out a cigarette from Han Qian's pocket, lit one and said calmly. You are not the only one who protects Feng Lun. I know there are some sayings here, but I am too lazy to dig into it. Han Qian. The gun has to be returned to Qin Yazu. Han Qian bent down a little deeper. The old judge put the cigarette on Han Qian's back and said calmly. Don't come to the court next time, I don't want to see you. Yes. After leaving the court, Han Qian was covered in sweat. After getting in the car, he started to curse. What happened in the past 2 days? After Sungzi solved the Lin family and Feng Lun, Binhai's surname will be Han. This is great. Yesterday, a monster woman appeared who chopped off Tu Xiao and threw him in. Today, another old judge with bottomless city came. Where did these people come from? Especially this old judge, he knew Kui Li had a gun on him, why did he let him go like this? Han Qian's mind was very confused and he wanted to find someone to fight. After waiting for about half an hour, Cai King Hu came out. After getting in the car, his face was unhappy and he said angrily. I don't know what's going on in Tong Yao's head. She must be sick. Little Kui Li, don't blame madam for speaking frankly. Feng Lun has done these things many times. Tong Yao must be saved. I won't understand. Han Qian stretched out his brother and laughed. Okay, aren't you happy? My husband will take you to beat someone up. Cai King Hu said angrily. The little shrimp won't be beaten. Not small. A retired city leader. Cai King Hu's eyes lit up after hearing these words. Yao Guangda? Are you thinking about Yates? Han Qian smiled and nodded, and Su Hongchang drove straight to the neighboring city. Han Qian fell asleep in the car. He slept too late last night, and he was in a bad mood right now. He didn't want to show off to them. After an hour's journey, Han Qian arrived at the ecological park last time. The lobby manager still remembered this young man and hurriedly came forward to greet him. Han Qian smiled and nodded, and said calmly to Su Hongchang after sitting down. Call Yao Guangda and Yang Jianfeng and tell them to come over and see me. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 931. The two came, Yang Jianfeng wiped the sweat from his face as he walked, but Yao Guangda acted very calmly and said loudly from a distance. Brother Han. I'm about to go to Binhai to see you. Why don't you go sit at home? Han Qian didn't even bother to get up and sneered. Go home? Have you prepared a few killers to serve me? Yao Guangde stepped forward and smiled. Look what you said, we are all a family, there can be no killer anywhere. When he finished speaking and went to pull up the chair, Cai Qinghu spoke calmly. Jinkan. Kui Li stepped forward and stepped on the chair where Yao Guangde wanted to sit. Han Qian laughed. Brother Yao is getting older, so it's better to exercise to avoid getting your shoes wet. Yao Guangde was stunned for a moment, then smiled. It's okay to pee 3 feet in the wind. Han Qian smiled. Here, show me. When the words came out, everyone present was stunned. The lobby manager quickly resigned, she was going to clear the place. Not long after, there were only a few people left in the hall of the ecological park. Yao Guangde looked at Han Qian with a gloomy expression, and Yang Jianfeng's legs had already begun to tremble. Plop! Yang Jianfeng knelt on the ground, not because he wanted to kneel, but because he couldn't stand anymore. When Jinkan raised his feet, the thing behind his waist was a real killing weapon. The scene was so quiet that it was scary. Just when Yang Jianfeng was about to ask for mercy, Yao Guang laughed. Brother Han. It's better for us to show this in private. If my brothers and sisters are not here today and wash away the ecological garden, it would be good to fertilize them. The old man was very flexible. Han Qian laughed. Kui Li returned to Cai Qinghu's side. Yao Guangde pulled up a chair and sat down, not that he didn't care about the shoe print, but he didn't dare to wipe it. Today Han Qian brought Cai Qinghu, who has become very famous in the province recently, and Kui Jinkan, whose identity is unknown, and some people say he is Kui Li. One black and one white. Can Yao Guangde not panic? Han Qian took out a cigarette and threw it on the table, glanced at Yang Jianfeng who was kneeling on the ground, and said calmly. Director Yang's legs and feet have not been good recently. It happens that our Jinkan knows a little bit about Korean bone setting. Lao Su and Jinkan will take Director Yang to relax. Su Hongchang chuckled. As you command, my young master. After saying that, the two of them dragged Yang Jianfeng to the door. The next second, Yang Jianfeng's wailing and begging for mercy were heard. Han Qian closed his eyes and shook his head, seeming to regard these wailings as a ditty. Yao Guangde smiled. Brother Han, there are some nonsense circulating outside recently. I know that even if I explain, people may not believe it. You tell me. I listen. How can I give Jianfeng a way to survive? Han Qian shrugged and Cai Qinghu smiled. What you said is a bit wrong. In a legal society, how can we do anything to Director Yang? It's just that you and I know that the rumors outside are false, but if there are too many people who believe them, they are true. Damn. My husband-in-law's reputation in Binhai is not very good, but he is a respectable person no matter what. My husband-in-law doesn't care, but I am a woman, how can I not care about my husband-in-law's reputation? At this time, Yao Guangde wanted to yell angrily, does your husband have a good reputation? Coastal bully. Violent maniac in the general department. The flowery carrot and the king of the sea. He has Kui Li by his side and is brother-in-law with Guan Yun Biao from the 8th district. Does such a person still care about reputation? He was thinking in his heart, but he really didn't dare to say it out loud. Yao Guangde took a deep breath and smiled. Brother and sister, you also said it, it's just rumors. How can I, Yao Guangde, deal with such a disaster? Cai Qinghu nodded, not to Yao Guangde, but to Kui Li at the door. A few seconds later, a gun was put on Yao Guangde's head. Kui Li said calmly. You know who I am better than anyone, right? At this time Han Qian spoke. Old Yao, there are rumors and unfounded disasters. These are not important. What is important is that someone has to take the blame. It is not a problem to always blame it on me. How about you feel aggrieved and take the blame? Yao Guangde said lightly. How to pick it up? Will I die? Han Qian smiled and shook his head. Since I brought my wife here, there will be no blood. You have some influence in the province. Send my wife to sit in the position of director of the procuratorate. Don't just study how to kill me, do something serious. Yao Guangde took a deep breath, then frowned and said in confusion. Han Qian, you are asking Cai Qinghu to jump through multiple levels. When he reaches the position of director, he is going to see the prosecutor. One is heaven and the other is earth. I am asking a question. Ask. Don't Sun Jianmin have a very good relationship with you? I don't want to owe him a favor, and I won't let him threaten me with Qinghu's position, Yao Guangde. I heard that you have been thinking about my secretary, right? Hey, after this is done, will you go to jail or leave the north? Choose for yourself. Yao Guangde narrowed his eyes and said coldly. You want to destroy all my relationships? Han Qian. I owe a lot of favors for sending Cai Qinghu to the top. If I leave later, it will be equivalent to completely severing my relationship with them. Han Qian picked up the fork on the table and threw it to Kui Li, saying calmly. That's what I mean, you don't want to. The fork pierced Yao Guangde's shoulder an inch, and his expression instantly turned painful. Han Qian stood up, stretched, and said calmly. You have to make it clear that I'm not negotiating with you. This is an order. When Qinghu doesn't take the director's position, I will let Jing Ken stay with you to see if you can pee at the top of your head. Serve the food. Come on, I'm hungry. The lobby manager looked at the little ancestor waving his hands, and quickly went to the kitchen to tell all the chefs to cook at the same time. According to the highest standards of wedding banquet preparation, the food must be served within 10 minutes. Han Qian's hands were not convenient. Cai Qinghu fed the vegetables bit by bit, and Han Qian continued vaguely. You'd better go to work as soon as possible and run away quickly. I'll come to you and give you a way to survive. When the Luo family comes, you. It's not as simple as going to jail. As soon as he finished speaking, his cell phone rang. Looking at Jing Qing's number, Han Qian's face turned ugly and he whispered. Yao Guangde, can you give me the position of director? Yao Guangde said in a low voice. Luo's phone number. Han Qian ignored him and pressed the connect button to turn on the speakerphone. Then Luo Fu's roar and cordial greetings came out. This guy cursed for more than 20 minutes. Han Qian never hung up the phone, and the corners of his eyes twitched obviously. It is quiet now. Han Qian said. Are you angry? Luo Fu said angrily. I'm going to take advantage of your uncle? My sister, what the hell, couldn't you just kill Lin Zongheng right then? Just say, what should I do about this? Cough. Cough. Sister, don't cry. Han Qian said in a low voice. Is your sister with you? How about I give her the phone? Stop talking nonsense, tell me. Marry my sister. Do you think Lu Shenge won't kill me or you? I married Luo Shen, can Lu Shenge keep us alive? Is he more dangerous or Lin Zongheng is more dangerous? Think about it with your ass. You should give birth to a child for adoption as soon as possible. Sister. Huh? What the hell are you Han Qian, huh? You reminded me that I told you about this when I went to Binhai. Keep an eye on Yao Guangde for me. Nier has already gone with someone. Lin Zongheng is dead, Feng Lun is inside and I can't move, and Yao Guangde is behind it, right? Han Qian, I'll show you how to skin someone alive. Don't move this person. Han Qian, do you want to protect him? Yes. There was silence on the other side of the phone, and then there was a sound of opening the door, and Luo Shen's cold voice came. Who are you calling, Xiaofu? Ah. Sister, Why don't you just lie down? Please rest a little. I'm 10,086 urging me to pay my phone bill. Don't bother me. I still have 30,000 yuan in phone bills. The phone was hung up. Han Qian looked up at Yao Guangde and said calmly. Whether you think I'm acting for you, or you think I'm scaring you, I'll protect you. In 1 month, King Hu's position will not be moved, and I will withdraw. During this month, Jin Kan and Lao Su will accompany you to eat and drink together live. Then he spoke softly to Cai King Hu. Madam, I'm full and don't want to eat any more. Let's go back to Binhai. Cai King Hu stood up and supported Han Qian's arm. When he passed Kui Li, Cai King Hu handed him a card and said with a smile. There isn't much money in it, so don't wrong yourselves here. I'll make up for it when you get back. Kui Li released the card with both hands and bowed. Thank you, madam. Cai King Hu smiled. Young madam. I like it very much. After going out, Cai King Hu started his Mercedes-Benz, glanced at Yang Jianfeng who was kneeling at the door and Su Hongchang who was bowing to see him off, and said calmly. Ms. Sir, just let me go like this. Han Qian smiled and took out his mobile phone to call Luo Fu. The call was hung up and Han Qian pouted. How could it be possible to let him go? Luo Fu will probably be taken care of by Luo Shen by now. Is bloodline suppression really so magical? As soon as he finished speaking, Luo Fu called, and Han Qian got straight to the point. 1 month. I will use Yao Guangde for 1 month. It's up to you what to do with it then. This guy almost killed your sister. Hey, don't worry. I'm not good at business, and I don't know much about these things. Han Qian, you are quite insidious. Don't talk nonsense, it was just an accident. After hanging up the phone, Cai King Hu slapped Han Qian on the shoulder several times, and Han Qian covered his shoulder and shouted. What are you doing? It hurts to hit me. Why should I hit you if it doesn't hurt you? When did you become so insidious, Han Qian? Huh? What did you say? After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, A Huan. Chapter 932. Ms. Sir. Ms. Sir. Ms. Sir. Oh, I haven't yelled yet, please don't. Okay. Ms. Sir. Can I agree? Hate, sir. Do you really want to kill Yao Guangde? Han Qian flattened his chair, closed his eyes, sighed, and said calmly. Hey. This is not something I can decide. I was also testing the Luo family's reaction. I said that I would keep it for 1 month, and Luo Fu gave me face, which means that Luo Shen didn't say anything when she went back, but she felt bad. Luo Fu, there was also a fuss, and I was holding a fire in my heart. If I don't vent it on Yao Guangde today, it might burn me tomorrow. I'm not afraid, but I'm afraid you'll get hurt. I know clearly in my mind which one is more serious. So. Madam, please stop talking about me. Cai King Hu sighed and said helplessly. Ms. Sir, I realize that we didn't do you any favors. All we did was cause trouble. Aren't men just there to solve troubles? You are responsible for being as beautiful as a flower and laughing and joking. Your husband, I am responsible for being as beautiful as a flower and making you feel at ease. What? If I like you, what else do I need to do for you? Han Qian smiled helplessly and Cai King Hu chuckled. You want me to be rich, okay. Why don't you cheat me out of money? Don't play with Nuan anymore. Tong Yao came to see me. She said that my aunt was almost the same age. She discussed with me and asked me to give Aunt Li's son a start-up fund in exchange for Aunt Li applying for early retirement. She said she wouldn't let me tell you. I couldn't hold it back. Come on, I know nursery rhymes are as good to you as they are to me, but I just. Han Qian sat up and lit a cigarette, and couldn't help laughing. You're just curious, right? This child monster has more twists and turns in his head than me. I guessed it when our Aunt Li went to the capital with me last time. He should know Lao Gu's divorced daughter-in-law Zhou Hui. We have a good relationship. I guess Monster Tong is helping Lao Gu and wants to form a good relationship. I'm not even dead yet, why is she anxious? Cai Qinghu said softly. What does she want to do? Han Qian curled his lips and said. She will be your protector after I retire. Ah. She is really not enough to worry about this day. The child monster has a weird personality, but she is really good to you. Sometimes she speaks and does things in unconventional ways. A little. Cai Qinghu said softly with a strange look on his face. Do you want us to live in peace? Han Qian. The concubines of ancient emperors were all pinching each other, what do you think? It's not Xiang Gong, but Han Qian. Han Qian obediently shut up and stopped talking, letting Cai Qinghu nag. Since he wouldn't lose any meat anyway, he would just nag. After nagging for a while, he should stop talking when he got tired. After entering Binhai, Han Qian told Cai Qinghu to send him there. On Qianling's side, Cai Qinghu whispered that he didn't have time. Not long after, a Mercedes-Benz parked next to a Cayenne. Han Qian said helplessly. Are you afraid that I will be lost? Are you taking turns to supervise me? Cai Qinghu curled his lips. I'm too lazy to send you off, and I don't want to go to Qianling's place. She regards Ji Jing as her chosen daughter-in-law, so I won't be hot-tempered and will stick to my cold butt. Jing Jing. Open the door for him. Aunt Ji, who sincerely likes to dress like a lady, still wears jeans and a thin windbreaker today. Han Qian got into the car. Ji Jing opened a pack of cigarettes, lit them and handed them to Han Qian. Then she handed Han Qian a glass. The quilt was still warm. Han Qian held the cigarette in his mouth and looked at the breath and jujubes inside. Then he looked at Ji Jing and said softly. Aunt Ji, do you dislike me? Am I okay? This waist, this hip. Ji Jing blushed and glared at Han Qian. This look was so charming that Han Qian smiled innocently. Hey, hee, it's so beautiful. Ji Jing smiled helplessly. I think it's a bit chilly out here, and you haven't been in good health lately. Aunt Ji's driving is different from Cai Qinghu's. Cai Qinghu's driving is very aggressive. Even if the speed limit is 60, she won't drive 58 and drive steadily at 59. Ji Jing's driving has something to do with her personality. It's indisputable. Don't rush, and leave space for those who are blocking. Ji Jing rarely spoke along the way. Han Qian asked, she said. This personality sometimes makes Han Qian helpless. He is so gentle that he is not willing to bully him. Recalling the oppressed scenes with Yan Qingqing or Wen Nuan, Han Qian felt that Ji Jing was really good. After getting out of the car, Ji Jing gently held Han Qian's bare paw and whispered. Your hand isn't healed yet? You don't need to wrap it up so tightly, right? Han Qian smiled. It's not easy to show the package to others. I was bitten by Nuan Wen again last night. Harmful. Ji Jing sighed, walked into the villa, sat on the sofa, and chatted with Qianling. They talked about nursery rhymes. Then Han Qian found out that Lao Gu was still a student of Qianling's husband. The two were almost the same age, but they were real friends. Master-disciple relationship. No wonder Qian Huan was so awesome in Binhai back then. In total, his father was awesome. Qianling checked Han Qian's hand and told them not to leave at night, eat at home, and then chat with her. Han Qian agreed with a smile. Since Han Qian agreed, Ji Jing would not have any objections. At around 5 o'clock in the evening, when Qian Wan came back, Jing and Qianling went to the kitchen to prepare meals. Qianwan handed Han Qian a game controller, and the two played Snowman Brothers on the computer. In the kitchen, Qianling said softly, "Have you and Han Qian taken safety measures?" The sudden question made Jing's face turn red, and then she nodded. Qianling sighed, patted Jing's shoulder lightly, and whispered, "Silly girl, you have an advantage now and don't know how to take advantage of it. How can you catch up with those three girls? I used to like Ching, but King's character, ugh." Jing prepared the meat to be roasted in the evening and smiled softly. "Don't chase. 3 people are enough to give Han Qian a headache. Why bother getting involved? They are fighting for theirs. It's good for me to do this. Han Qian and I will accompany you to eat and chat." Qianling said helplessly. It's okay if you don't argue or quarrel like this. This also leaves Han Qian a sunny day. How is your relationship with this little monster Tanjeo? Jing tilted her head and thought for a moment, then smiled. We quarreled when we met, but we are the closest, right? Has she come over to bother you? That's not true. He came over and asked if Lao Gu and I were familiar with each other. This little monster is very smart. Fortunately, he always thinks of Han Qian in his heart, otherwise. This little monster can torture Han Qian to death. The nursery rhymes are pretty good. In the evening, the 4 people sat at the table to barbecue. Han Qian forced Uncle Zhong to sit on the table and insisted on having a drink with the old man. He drank so much that he didn't even know how he got back to the room. At 8 o'clock, nursery rhyme called. "Mrs. Bobo, where are you?" Jing whispered. "I'm with Director Qian." "Oh. When are you going home? What do you want to do?" "I'll go home tomorrow." "Oh, then I'll play with you tomorrow and go to your house." After saying that, Tanjeo hung up the phone and looked down at the embroidery needle in her hand. Tanjeo sighed and muttered softly. "I miscalculated with Han Qian. I will make miscalculations, which will annoy me to death." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 933. Jing sneaked away early in the morning and said hello to Uncle Zhong on the way out. She was curious about what Nurseria wanted to do with her. When Han Qian got up, it was already past 7 o'clock. When he opened his eyes, he was confused. He looked at the room, at himself wearing only underwear, and at his 2 hands wrapped like bear paws. Han Qian took a deep breath, and when he was about to get dressed, he found that his clothes were missing. This. Han Qian took out his mobile phone and called Qianling. Only then did he realize that the clothes had been washed. After hanging up the phone, the door was pushed open. A girl in a black suit and several little girls in maid outfits hugged her. Went in with clothes on. Han Qian was not given a chance to cover himself with a quilt. Surrounded by several little girls, Han Qian was pushed into the bathroom wearing a pair of underwear. When the little girl said that his wife wanted them to give him a bath, Han Qian covered him with a bear's paw. Stayed for privacy. Even though I was wearing underwear, I was still nervous being stared at like this. When the little girl was about to take action, Han Qian said in panic. No. I don't have the habit of taking a shower in the morning. Just wash my hair and brush my teeth for me. But this is what the lady ordered. I am the young master. After Han Qian's shame and anger, the little girls gave up bathing the young master with a somewhat disappointed look, and washed their faces gently. Han Qian seriously suspected that the little girls were deliberately taking advantage of him. The skin on this face is almost peeling off. After changing into a blue suit, Han Qian finally left the bedroom. When he went out, he looked at Jianwan leaning against the door and chewing an apple. Han Qian patted Jianwan on the head with his bare paw. Knowing that your brother is being tortured inside, you don't even go in to save me. Jianwan Han smiled. Torture? Our little girls are all first-class water spirits, brother. Let me tell you secretly, they are all top students. Han Qian said in a low voice with doubt on his face. How high? Let me tell you, the one in the black suit graduated from Beijing University, and the worst among the rest is 211. Jianwan said it in an understatement. Han Qian's face was full of surprise. He looked at the few girls walking by. The next second, he put his arm around Jianwan's shoulders and asked in a low voice. With their academic qualifications, it's easy for them to find jobs outside. At the end of the day, they are also white-collar workers in the company. They are on the same level as us brothers. Jianwan Han smiled. Brother. The combined salary of both of us is not enough to pay one person. We give red envelopes during festivals and bonuses during the new year. We don't have many guests at home a year. We usually just talk to my aunt. We earn more than 100,000 yuan a year. Yes, if it were me, I wouldn't go to work either. No wonder you don't feel repelled even if you give me a bath. It's a lot of money in total. No. It really has nothing to do with this. My aunt has rules here. You are not allowed to fall in love while working at home. If you fall in love, you have to resign. My aunt will also pay them an extra breakup fee, but she said after working at home for a long time, I no longer know how to work outside. I just want to work for a few more years, save some money, leave home, open a small shop, etc. Han Qian sighed. It's difficult. I've been with my aunt for a long time, and I don't like ordinary young men anymore. I guess they are all young rich women when they leave home, right? I asked. The youngest girl graduated from Nanjing University. She has been working for half a year and now has almost 100,000 savings in her hand. She not only earns wages at home, but my aunt occasionally teaches them a little bit about the stock market. The little tips are useless for the big ones. It's more than enough to make a little money, brother. You're so smart, why don't you just trade stocks? Don't. Your brother and I have never had any chance of gambling in my life. To me, that stuff is no different from the holy book. Go downstairs, eat, and after dinner we will go to the company together. Seeing the two brothers and sisters laughing and joking, Qianling felt happy. She was in a good mood and told Uncle Zhong to get some girls ready and go shopping later. Shopping with my wife is basically the mother taking her daughter shopping, buying and selling while my wife spends the money. I don't go out often, but I buy a lot of things here. Although Qianling's assets are not as rich as Cai Qinghu's, they are much richer than those of the Wen family. The money they bring in every day is enough to support the family's squandering, and there is also a girl named Qianwan who is addicted to the internet and spends money. After the meal, Han Qian finally got on the GTR that originally belonged to him. After getting in the car, Han Qian smiled. It's not as handsome as McLaren. Qianwan pouted. Handsome? You look ugly to me. When my sister-in-law gets rich, let her change it quickly. Brother, did you go to my sister-in-law's house when you went to Shengjing? You mean that manor? Yes, it's so big. There are more servants in the house than mine. I saw that the motorcycle the security guard at the door rides costs hundreds of thousands. How much money does she have? Han Qian held his chin, thought for a moment, and said seriously. When she was angry with Yan Qingqing, she said she wanted to buy glory and let Yan Qingqing work for her. After the words came out, both of them were silent. After a long time, Qianwan whispered. Compared with my sister-in-law, I look like a poor peasant, a third-generation poor peasant. Han Qian couldn't help laughing and scolding. Your aunt heard this and started teaching you again. Qianwan curled her lips again. He drove slowly and leisurely, and when he arrived at the company, it was time to clock in. Qianwan showed off to Han Qian when he clocked in. Han Qian was a little angry. When he went to take his fingerprints, he found that his fingers were wrapped in it. In fact, there is no need to try, you will definitely not be able to record it. Whether his fingerprints were in the fingerprint library or not, the brother and sister went upstairs amid Qianwan's ridicule. When they walked to the door, they almost bumped into Yang Lan, who was hurriedly going out. Han Qian took a step back in a hurry. Sister Yang has very big breasts. Han Qian said softly. Sister Yang, why are you in such a hurry? Don't mention it. Xiao Baibei beat up his classmate at school. This bastard made me mad. I have to go to the kindergarten. You should be more honest at work. No fighting is allowed. Han Qian raised his hand with a wry smile. Yang Lan sighed, turned around and trotted into the elevator. Xiao Baibei hit someone? Hey. Good boy. A scene of two cuties fighting each other appeared in his mind, and Han Qian couldn't help but giggle. Brother. Why does Sister Yang become more and more beautiful as she grows older? I am a woman and I am tempted. Han Qian came to his senses, then knocked Qianwan on the forehead with his bare paw and whispered. Be more normal and find a similar boyfriend. Let me tell you, I hate homosexuality. Pedantic. You can't stop homosexuality from existing. I won't stop you, but I can stop you. Get out. Go to work. Brother, let me tell you something. You have something serious to do, go ahead. Qianwan snorted arrogantly and strode into the general department. When Han Qian was about to go in, Suliang pushed him out, put his arms around Han Qian's neck and took him to the bathroom, throwing Han Qian a cigarette. The bear's paw failed to catch it, and Han Qian glared at Suliang. The latter took out two sticks, lit them in his mouth, and handed one to Han Qian. Han Qian held a cigarette in his mouth and curled his lips. What are you doing so mysteriously? Suliang said angrily. I'm such a mysterious person. Don't say you don't know that director Qian left Qianwan's internet celebrity company to Li Li. Han Qian was stunned and nodded with confusion on his face. I really don't know about this, so I'll just give it to you. When the company was registered, it was probably 5 million, right? It's not much money. When the words came out, Suliang's face was full of depression and he whispered. It's not about the money, it's about the things. When Dichiener is the salesperson, the company asks her to take care of it. How can she take care of it? It's like that now. She's busy with the notebook. As a result, I didn't understand anything. I was asked 800 times a day. I am now 2 years old and 1 head tall. When I was paying for public food, they asked me how to cultivate internet celebrities. I withered on the spot. They asked me to go to the hospital in the middle of the night. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Ha 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 ha. Han Qian couldn't hold it back anymore and laughed while holding his stomach. Ha ha, I said, what did Dichiener just want to say to me? This is all about the total? You have an idle mind, so just plan it for your wife. What about internet celebrities? Do you like it? Master leads me in. Cultivation depends on personal things. It's okay if it's as simple as you said. What kind of marketing account should I find and how to create a character? Damn it, I can't do it. Give me a trick. Where can I go to help you? No, you must not have held it in well. You have it all figured out in your head. Hey, did you notice? Isn't Guyan still in Binhai, or is he an artist under an, and is he lending me a favor? What? Try it, will you still be impotent? Believe it or not, I stuffed you into the toilet. Don't. I was wrong. I realized my mistake. I don't know where Guyan is. Just call Anan yourself. Why are you asking me about this? It's not like they don't know you. Can you stop taking off your pants and farting? Suliang nodded and said calmly. Indeed, telling you is in vain. I'll call Anan. After saying this, the two of them threw away the cigarette butts in their hands at the same time, and when they turned around to leave, Xiao Yangjia blocked them both in the toilet, and then stretched out his hand to Suliang. Give me the car keys. Mr. Yan gave me leave. I want to go on a self-driving trip with my little sister. Suliang stretched out his legs and said helplessly. I can't drive with my legs, and I don't have the keys on me. I'm looking for your brother Jianer. Little Yang Jia turned to look at Han Jian, who stretched out two bare paws. Jian sent me here. Xiao Yang Jia was furious. What do I need from you two? Han Jian patted little Yang Jia on the forehead. Just because I can't drive doesn't mean I don't have a car. Your sister Jijing has changed her car. Her 5 Series has been parked in front of my mother's house for almost a month. The key is in the drawer of my coffee table. Take it yourself. Xiao Yangjia smiled. Hey, brother Jianer, you're so kind. I'll copy Xiao Guang for you on the telephone pole. No. Brother Liang, I'll copy it for you. The old Chinese medicine doctor specializes in treating impotence and premature ejaculation. Han Jian laughed loudly, and Suliang gritted his teeth and chuckled. Roll. Little Yang Jia turned around and ran. When she ran more than 10 meters, Suliang spoke. Wait a minute, come back. Little Yang Jia turned around with a confused look on her face. At this time, Suliang took out his wallet, took out all the banknotes in it, kept some change, and handed a wad of whole coins to Yang Jia. You can take this little more than 4,000 and buy whatever you like. I know that Sister Yang took the old man over not long ago. Didn't you two sisters pay the down payment for your little savings? Take it and spend it. Xiao Yangjia took the money, her big eyes filled with mist, when Han Jian suddenly spoke. Don't look for male models. I'll copy a small advertisement for you. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 934. Why are you so generous all of a sudden? You gave me the car, what's wrong with me giving you some money? When did I say I would give you a car? You didn't say, I made the decision for you. As long as you are happy. The brothers were just about to return to the general department when their cell phones rang at the same time. They sighed at the same time and walked in 2 directions. Pair. My queen. At the same time, a call came to check on the post. The 2 brothers each held a phone and waved goodbye, with a somewhat hopeless look on their faces. Suliang went downstairs and Li Li was waiting for her. Han Jian went upstairs and the Empress was summoning him. Pushing open the office door, Han Jian revealed half of his face and secretly glanced at Yan Qingqing. Empress Yasha glanced at Han Jian and frowned. Have you never seen old couple? What are you doing secretly? Opening the door, Han Jian chuckled. Every time I look at you, I am amazed by your appearance. I have discovered it. If you look closely, you are a little prettier than Nuan. Yan Qingqing sneered. Try saying this in front of her? You don't need to tell me. I have absolute confidence in my appearance, but I am a little short. Do you think our children will follow me? Han Jian sat on the sofa and crossed his legs, smiling. My mother isn't very tall either. I can't do this just fine. Yan Qingqing attacked mercilessly. Your height of 178 centimeters is barely qualified. Cai Qinghu is a little taller than Wen Nuan. She is as tall as you even in flat shoes. Stop being complacent. Can't you praise me? Name your strengths. I don't snore when I sleep. Let's take a nap together. Han Jian was timid again, glanced at his bare paw, and sighed. The mind is full, but the strength is not enough. Yan Qingqing curled her lips in disdain. Coward! Let's see how long you can be cowardly. If you let me know which girl you secretly ate, ha! Snapped. A pair of scissors was slapped on the table. Han Qian was frightened and his body trembled. His face turned pale and he murmured in a low voice. You should also wait for me to get well. Why don't we choose a good and auspicious day to have a child, right? It's quite important. Yan Qingqing curled her lips and said angrily. It's okay, I can hold it in. What the hell are you doing? When the baby is born, who among us will take care of it? Han Qian, are you here to cause trouble for me? While chatting, Mr. Yan lost his temper. He walked up to Han Qian, sat on Han Qian's body, raised the straight man's hands, then leaned down and pressed his lips to his. After a while of lingering, Yan Qingqing looked at Han Qian with a red face. Then Yasha Empress grabbed Han Qian's wrist and bit it in her mouth. She grabbed Han Qian's right hand with both hands. Han Qian panicked. Hey, hey, hey. What are you doing? Yan Qingqing gritted her teeth and said. You're a big man. It's been 2 months and your finger is still not healed? Are you fooling the foreign devils? They feel sorry for you and are reluctant to touch you. I won't tolerate you. If you touch me, I will have a baby now. Han Qian didn't dare to resist anymore. He was really afraid of offending Lady Yasha. Not long after, Han Qian's hands were freed. Yan Qingqing gently poked Han Qian's finger. The next second, Han Qian screamed like a slaughtered pig. Yan Qingqing panicked and said quickly. Does it hurt? Han Qian lay on the sofa and blinked at Yan Qingqing. It doesn't hurt. Yan Qingqing slapped Han Qian on the butt and said angrily. Then what's your name? I'm trying to scare you. Do you really want a child? Yan Qingqing nodded, and the next second Han Qian took Yan Qingqing's hand and whispered. Let's go. Go home and have the baby. This time it was Yan Qingqing's turn to panic, but Han Qian really didn't seem to be joking and took Yan Qingqing's hand out of the office. At this moment, Yan Qingqing was still a little panicked. Han Qian also knew that this matter could not be delayed any longer. Pulling Yan Qingqing straight to her home. Entering the room and tidying up the bedding, Yan Qingqing froze on the spot with a red face. After tidying up the bed, Han Qian turned to look at the dumbfounded Yan Qingqing and said doubtfully. Why are you standing there? Should you wash it first or should I wash it first? I'll wash first. The arrogant Yan Qingqing seemed very flustered at this moment, and walked into the bathroom slowly. However, within 2 minutes, Yan Qingqing came out wrapped in a bath towel, and then she burst into tears. Did Yasha Empress cry? This was something Han Qian never expected. He quickly stepped forward to comfort him. Empress Yasha hugged Han Qian and choked with tears. Sorry. It's okay, we're not in a hurry. I'm in a hurry, but I'm here, Auntie, ahead of schedule. Han Qian didn't know what to say, so he hugged Yan Qingqing and went to bed, then got into the bed, put his right hand on Yan Qingqing's abdomen, and said softly. It's not urgent. It's just a matter of 3 to 5 days. We were originally going to take a nap together. Yan Qingqing turned over and looked into Han Qian's eyes, then gave a sweet kiss and whispered. Sorry. Han Qian held Yan Qingqing in his arms with a little force and said softly. Everyone can say sorry, but I, the queen, am not allowed to apologize. Yan Qingqing cried again. Wow. Han Qian, you are too insidious. You are so good to me, but I can't bear to kill all the little vixens around you. You are too insidious, huh? Where do you put your paws? Touch, tease me like this, can't I collect some interest? A few seconds later, Yan Qingqing let out a cry with spring in her eyes. This time, Han Qian was no longer calm and hugged Yan Qingqing tightly in his arms. Sleep. Yan Qingqing's little hands were not idle, and she whispered. I've seen that kind of movie, actually, you can actually do it with your hands. The battle to defend the underwear in the morning was successful, but the battle at noon was defeated. Nursery Rhyme took Jijing to go shopping in the mall, buying clothes and jewelry, and together they selected pajamas and underwear for Han Qian. In short, she kept holding Jijing while walking, and then bought 2 ice creams. The child monster refused to eat them. Looking at Jijing with a silly smile on her face. Jijing, who was eating ice cream, looked at the nursery rhyme helplessly. What on earth are you doing, child monster? You're dragging me shopping and eating ice cream. You're making me feel very uneasy. Tong Yao held her chin in her hands and smiled innocently. It's okay, I just haven't seen you for a long time. I miss you, Bobo. What do you want to eat? My sister cooks with her own hands, and her cooking skills are definitely not worse than those in hotels. Jijing frowned slightly, then smiled. Rich eggplant, cherry meat, eggplant box, let's have some black chicken soup. After hearing these dish names, Tong Yao's face fell. You did it on purpose, right? These 3 dishes are super troublesome to prepare, Bobo. I have a name. Mistress. Do it or not? Do it. Why don't you do it? I want to have some drinks with you today. Didn't I say that you, Jijing, won't get drunk after 1,000 cups? Buy wine. Buy liquor. You spend money, right? Tong Yao nodded, and then Jijing took him to the tobacco and alcohol store, selected the most expensive wine, and got 2 cigarettes for Han Qian. When checking out, looking at the invoice of more than 4,000, Tong Yao's heart was bleeding. But for value. When they arrived at Jijing's house, Tong Yao opened the door of Han Qian's room. Looking at the room specially built for Han Qian, Tong Monster sighed. Han Qian has really fallen into your gentle land. Are you too kind to him? Jijing lay on the sofa and whispered. This is what men like. Since I like it, I will satisfy him. You can watch it, but you can't lie on the bed. Nursery Rhyme curled her lips and replied. What? Are you worried that you will think of me when you 2 are having sex? Are you disgusted? Ignoring Jijing's words, Tong Yao walked into the room, walked to the drawer next to the bed, and shouted. Your computer is pretty good. When will you get one for me? It won't be cheap, right? Didn't he like to play games at Mr. Yan's place? I thought he liked playing, so I bought this. It cost more than 20,000 yuan. He played for less than an hour in total. When will you cook? I'm hungry. Why are you so anxious? I'll take a look at this model. I'll just look at it and not touch it. Jijing believed the nonsense in the nursery rhyme. Even though she was a teacher, she couldn't believe what she said. The monster looked at the condom in the drawer, a sneer appeared on the corner of his mouth, and the next second a silver needle appeared in her with his hand. He stabbed at the packaging bag, muttering to himself. Let you be safe. Let you cause trouble. Hee, Miss Bobo, Xiao Hanqian, don't blame me, I'm here for your own good. Poke the condom with a needle. This kind of despicable thing could only be done by nursery rhymes, and of course she paid the price. After cooking 4 dishes, Jijing poured her half a bottle of white wine, and nursery rhyme was so drunk that she fell unconscious. Then Jijing panicked. She didn't want to touch nursery rhyme, not at all, but she didn't want to leave her out on the dining table like this. Looking for you, poetry? Unfamiliar. Warmth. No, if she sees this room, she will definitely not leave. Yang Lan seemed to be busy with something. Xiao Baibei got into a fight with someone. After much thought, Han Qian was left alone. He took out his mobile phone and dialed Han Qian's number. After waiting for a long time, the call was connected. Han Qian spoke in a daze. "What's the matter?" Ji Jing asked weakly. "My eldest nephew, are you sleeping? Honey, please come and help me. I accidentally got drunk with nursery rhymes. I don't want to touch her." Han Qian laughed helplessly. "Ha, I guess you'll sober up in a while, right? You can just drink some beer if you nurse the rhymes. I gave her half a bottle of Maotai." Base. Han Qian sat up suddenly and whispered. "Wait for me to come over." Han Qian stood up and woke up Yan Qingqing. Mr. Yan, who was usually irritable and domineering, asked lazily like a lazy kitten. "What's wrong with Ji Jing?" Han Qian said helplessly while wearing his clothes. "She drank half a bottle of white wine for Tong Yao. Now Tong Yao is drunk. She doesn't want to touch Tong Yao yet, and she doesn't want her to sleep on the dining table. I'll go over there. You go to my mother's place to eat at night? My aunt is at home. Take a few days off, and I'll help you keep an eye on it at the company." "Yet I understand. I'm going to take a nap and go to my mother's place at night. If Tong Yao wakes up, let's go home together. Yu Shisai may not be able to take care of her. As the eldest daughter-in-law of the Han family, I have to be broad-minded. I love you the most." Han Qian put on his clothes and went out. He took a taxi to Ji Jing's community. When he entered, he saw Ji Jing wearing gloves and her face was full of tangles. Han Qian took off his shoes and knocked on Ji Jing's forehead, and then picked up nursery rhymes. Then Han Qian was stunned and turned to look at Ji Jing. Ji Jing pinched the corner of her clothes and struggled for a long time, then sighed helplessly. "Just go to my room, I'm changing the quilt." Han Qian carried nursery rhymes into the bedroom and said softly on the way out. "If you let her know about changing the quilt cover, she will probably quarrel with you again." At this time, Han Qian discovered that Ji Jing was wearing a nightgown with lace at the hem and lace on the chest to match her plump breasts. Then Han Qian had a picture of Yan Qingqing in bed with her in his mind. There was a fire that had not dissipated yet. He smiled at Ji Jing. Ji Jing immediately blushed and lowered her head and whispered, "There's someone at home." Han Qian stepped forward and picked up Ji Jing and walked into his room. He threw the flowery Aunt Ji on the bed, then took off his clothes and got on the bed. After a while of lingering, Aunt Ji whispered with a blushing face, "That. Good." Han Qian reached out and found a small square in the drawer. It felt a little slippery when he took it. Han Qian just thought it had touched the plate on the dinner table when he hugged Ji Jing, and didn't think much about it at all. Han Qian's room is filled with spring scenery. It was dark in Ji Jing's room. When she was asleep, a smile appeared on her lips. She didn't know what good things she had dreamed of. 2 updates of 7,000 words. Brothers, I am on the monthly voting list for Quokka reading. Although I am in the 90th place, this is the first time I have been on this list. Please give me a chance before finishing. Please vote for me. Shamelessly asking for a monthly ticket. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 935. Ji Jing was very lazy and didn't want to get up. She drove Han Qian away with coaxing and discussion. Before leaving, she asked Han Qian to take the garbage from the trash can downstairs. Han Qian put on his clothes and smiled. Carrying the garbage out of the bedroom, it took more than half an hour to leave Ji Jing's words. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Ji Jing walked out of the room in her pajamas and looked at the clean living room. Then she walked into the kitchen and opened the cupboard. Looking at the clean dishes and chopsticks inside, Ji Jing's eyes narrowed into small crescents. "My eldest nephew, you are so gentle, how can I not love you? He talks straighter than anyone else, but he is very heartwarming in his actions." Ji Jing was easily satisfied. She walked to her room humming a little tune. When she opened the door, her expression changed. She felt unnatural, and there was a murderous intent in her eyes. How could she drool while sleeping? Ji Jing had already thought about where to bury the child monster, and Tong Yao had already fallen asleep without knowing the time or place. In her dream, she was riding Han Qian under her body and beating her, and the whip in her hand was merciless. On his body. Hey, he. This is talking in sleep. Ji Jing took a deep breath and closed the door with a bang. Unfortunately, the child monster just turned over and continued to sleep. Walking out of the community, Han Qian suddenly felt that it was really inconvenient that Su Hongchang was not around. He called Yates and found out that he was looking for a girlfriend for Rottweiler. Little Rottweiler was a red-flowered young man. This big girl was the first to get married. Once, Han Qian was a little worried that this tough-headed young man would be bitten by someone. Han Qian suddenly thought of a funny video. The owner took the husky on a blind date, but he ended up doing a vault. Tell Yates to be careful. After hanging up the phone, I called the old man and asked if there was any food at home. The old man replied stiffly. You don't have to worry about this while I'm alive. The call was hung up, and Han Qian jumped on the road, shouting angrily. Ah! Is this Dad? I kindly asked if there is any food at home. You said you are still alive? I didn't know you were still alive. Is this what a father should say? Look at other people's homes, then a father is kind and his son is filial, and he is happy, calling him father and son. The more Han Qian thought about it, the more uncomfortable he felt. He took out his mobile phone and called the old man again. The old man who answered the phone again seemed a little impatient. The sound of the gas stove could be heard on the phone, and Han Qian whispered. Old man, how about the two of us? There's fart. Call me daddy. Haha, I'll scream in front of you when you come back. The phone was hung up again, and I felt a lot better, but I didn't dare to move my legs towards the house, and kept waiting until 5:30. Qian's mother was a little worried about her son, so she called to ask why he hadn't gone back yet. Han Qian, who was squatting outside the courtyard entrance, whispered. I asked my dad to call me daddy. I don't dare to go home right now. I'm afraid he will beat me. You deserve to be beaten. Why is your head so confused? Are you at the door? I see Huan squatting at the door. Where is my dad? I'm squatting in the yard with a stick. Why? Why do you have such a trance and say such outrageous things? He pushed open the door of the courtyard, and Huan swung around Han Qian with his tail. Han Qian squatted at the door of the courtyard and looked at the old man squatting at the door of the house. Then he threw Huan to the ground, one person and one dog. Have fun. The old man chuckled. Good son, come here. Let dad take care of you. Oh, we have not seen each other with our heads down, so why are we so excited? I am so excited about Huan, so go in and eat quickly. Don't be in a hurry, eat, sleep and beat your son. These are the three great pleasures in life. No, no, no. The three major hobbies of men are greed for money, lust, and bragging. These are the three major pleasures. The father and son faced each other from a distance. Han Qian lit a cigarette, and the old man rolled a cigarette. Both father and son smoked in the same way. The old man suddenly let out a sigh, and Han Qian suddenly raised his head, turned around and ran away. The next second, a stone hit the courtyard door. After a few seconds, Han Qian opened the door and revealed half of his head, frowning. Are you kidding me? The old man weighed a stone in his hand and smiled. The bandage was removed. Can't it be put back on? Your mother said you were fishing with the bandage on. I don't quite understand. How did it come off? Han Qian glanced at the hand holding the door and whispered. Ching Ching said he was too cowardly, so he demolished it for me, smashed the rocks, and blocked the door for me for so long. Is this almost enough? The old man stood up and Han Jian ran away. A son is better known than his father, and the reverse also makes sense. Not long after, Han Jian was carried under the old man's arm and brought back to the yard. Huan looked at Han Jian from a distance, tilting his head with curiosity in his eyes, as if he was thinking that this idiot always provoked his father to do anything. What? Han Jian was thrown on the chair. The old man brought a bowl of rice. Han Jian ate obediently. Then 3 pairs of chopsticks appeared in the bowl. Han Jian raised his head and saw 3 girls looking at him with warmth and indifference. Road. Eat some meat and get some protein. Yan Qingqing said softly. Eat more vegetables. Eating too much meat will make you angry. Cai Qinghu chuckled. Dad specially stewed tendons for you tonight. Eat whatever you want to make up for it. A difficult decision lies ahead, which one to eat first. Han Jian turned to his mother and sent out a distress signal. His mother looked at the 3 girls with a smile and completely ignored Han Jian's cry for help. The old man sighed softly and said calmly. Young man, don't be so delicate when you eat. Han Jian understood instantly. He picked up the bowl and stuffed all the dishes into his mouth in no particular order. After a meal, Han Jian was considered to be at peace, but he saw dissatisfaction in the eyes of the 3 women. After the meal, Wen Nuan took out a large bucket of ice cream from the refrigerator, held it close to Yan Qingqing, and stuffed it into her mouth. Yan Qingqing stretched out her hand and pushed Wen Wen's head away. Are you naive? I don't like eating ice cream. As soon as he finished speaking, Cai Qinghu took a big spoon and dug a spoonful into the bucket in his warm arms, and said vaguely. That's why you're so short. Don't glare at me, little warmth, I bought the ice cream. Wen Nuan hugged the ice cream and moved away from Cai Qinghu. Then Cai Qinghu forced Wen Wen to the corner of the sofa, hugged Wen Wen's shoulders and laughed. Don't be a solitary eater. My officially recognized husband-in-law is going to come out and accuse you later. Wen Nuan glared at Cai Qinghu, and Yan Qingqing chuckled. We don't want Nuan. Cai Qinghu squinted and smiled while eating ice cream. Then you don't get it either, ha 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 ha. I didn't go to work today, and Han Jian didn't go to the company either. After saying this, Nuan and Yan Qingqing stopped what they were doing at the same time. Cai Qinghu stood up and Nuan came to Yan Qingqing's side holding the ice cream. Boom. Boom. 2 spoons hit Lady Yasha's forehead. This ignited Lady Yasha's anger. She snatched the ice cream bucket from Wen Wen's hand. The next second, Wen Wen was pressed under her by Yan Qingqing. Wen Wen held the ice cream bucket in her hand. Holding a spoon, he shouted to Cai Qinghu to help, but Cai Qinghu was holding the ice cream and eating it while watching the excitement. It seems to have nothing to do with her at all. Not long after, Cai Qinghu screamed. Qian's mother whispered to Han Jian, who was sitting on the ground picking peanuts with the old man. Don't you want to go take a look? Han Jian shook his head. If you don't go, I don't care if they beat them. I can't beat them with fists and slaps. After saying this, Han Jian picked up the peanuts and then received a slap on the shoulder. The old man frowned. Can your finger work? Just stay there. He shouted towards the door. Xiaonuan, roll a cigarette for Dad. These hands are full of dirt. After saying this, Qian's mother opened the quilt covering her legs and scolded. What kind of cigarettes did you ask Xiaonuan to roll for you? Before Qian's mother got off the ground, Wen Nuan ran in quickly, pushed Qian's mother back to the Kong, and then squatted down next to the old man and skillfully rolled a cigarette. This skillful look surprised Han Jian and exclaimed. You actually know how to roll cigarettes? I've been learning for more than 20 years and I still can't. Wen Nuan smiled naively. I didn't go to work today. I spent the whole day at home. Han Qian was stunned. She could do anything without going to work. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Huan. Chapter 936. Nuan rolled up more than 10 sticks for the old man in one breath, then rolled up his sleeves and rushed to the west room. Maybe someone was playing with her. Warm and energetic. It was late at night. The three girls were tired of arguing and were lying on the bed looking at their mobile phones. Han Qian asked them if they wanted to drink water. They all said no, but Han Qian still prepared 2 cups of warm water and then put his hand into Cai Qinghu's bed. Holding Madame Cai's feet, Cai Qinghu sat up and looked at Han Qian with doubtful eyes. Han Qian smiled. You are most afraid of the cold. Let me see if the electric blanket is lit and touch your feet to see if they are cold. It feels like the temperature is not bad. Well, Nuan will grab the quilt at night, so be careful. Cai Qinghu nodded. Nuan took out a water gun beside the bed, and Han Qian raised his hands and exited the room. Returning to the small room that belonged to him, he tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. When he was bored, he sent Yates a text message and asked how things were going with Rowena. Yates took a photo and sent it. Little Rottweiler was injured. There appeared to be a fight, followed by a text message from Yates. He has a habit of being spoiled. He was yelled at and then started fighting. The opponent was a little bigger than him and his bloodline was purer. He had never hit him before, but Doberman still went to help him. Damn, the other party also has 2 dogs, including a Tibetan Mastiff. They have never beaten each other. They came to apologize just now. Apologize? Isn't this our fault? I accidentally called out their names. The other party was doing it for your sake. Hey, Mr. Han's Tibetan Mastiff is really fierce. Didn't bite you? Do you want me to be better? Oh. The communication ended with the word oh. After Lin Zongheng's death, peace returned to Binhai. Feng Lun confessed many things, but these things were not announced. The Yamanman chose to suppress the matter and draw a happy ending. Nuan Wen, who didn't like going to work, spent 3 days fishing and 2 days drying nets. It was a miracle that he could go to work 4 days a week. His mother-in-law was still playing mahjong, but Lao Wen was sent to the company. After Cai Qinghu was promoted to the first-class special prosecutor, her promotion was stopped. There were no suggestions from the province. It was Logu's suggestion from the capital. He didn't tell Han Qian specifically. He just asked the nursery rhyme to tell Han Qian not to let Cai Qinghu be promoted. So fast. Han Qian didn't understand the rules inside the yamen. Since he was stopped, it meant that Yao Guangda had lost his role. Han Qian called Anan and asked her to buy an eyebrow razor blade for Luo Fu. Anan didn't know why and didn't ask any more questions. She just asked when Han Qian would go to the capital. She missed him. Let's go to the capital. It shouldn't take long. Go get busy. Anan wanted to say she wasn't busy, but since Han Qian said so, she could only hang up the phone and sit in the 100 square meter office. Anan looked towards the seaside, which was the busiest place. In her eyes, the expensive office is not as good as the bungalow on the seaside. Anan put down the phone, picked up the landline and asked the secretary if he had any schedule for today. The secretary whispered. Uncle and aunt are waiting for you downstairs. Anan was stunned, then sneered. Tell them that I am not here and will not come to the company to look for me in the future. I will provide them with their retirement. The secretary nodded, hung up the phone and went to the finance department. Not long after, An's parents met the secretary on the first floor. The secretary conveyed the original message to the 2 elders. The 2 elders looked at each other and sighed. They turned around and left without taking the cash. Company. They are not short of money, what they want is the relationship between the Lorraine family. Now the cooperation between the two Lorraine companies has become a big enterprise in the capital. How many people want to join in, and people who used to sneer at the two elders come to their door. Pity. Annan didn't pay much attention to their existence. Then Annan's parents saw Annan leaving the company in a sports car. She went to buy eyebrow razor blades. The blade was handed over to Luo Fu himself. The latter looked at the blade in his hand with a grin on his face. He waved to the two men standing in the distance and threw the blade to them. These two men had been to the Luo family in Binhai. The bodyguard took the blade and left the capital, going straight to Yao Guangda's residence. Sitting at the entrance of the group that had been renamed Huishan, Han Qian looked up at the sky. I have already called Su Hongchang and Kui Li to ask them to return to Binhai. It is estimated that Yao Guangda will pack up and escape today. Han Qian is not worried about whether he is alive or dead as far as he can escape. It's not Han Qian who wants to kill him now, it's Luo Fu. He must die. This is the only way for the Luo family to regain their face. When the Luo family is mentioned, Han Qian thinks of Luo Shen. This woman. Han Qian's heart was full of apologies to her. Han Qian admitted that he had no choice but to make a chess piece out of Luo Shen. This woman must have known about it, but then she chose to play dumb. Luo Shen helped a lot in taking down Changxiang group. In fact, she doesn't need anything. As long as she continues to be friends with Han Qian, it will distract the Lin family and his son. If goodbye. Han Qian really didn't know what to say. Haven't seen you for a long time. Han Qian, a straight man, feels very tacky. Sorry. It seems like someone said you can't say sorry to a girl. So hard. Han Qian lay on the steps. No one entering or exiting the company dared to take the steps. They all chose the side door. Although it was a bit of a detour, it was better not to provoke him. He was in a good mood. How could he joke with this little bully? It's all fine, he's in a bad mood, and your breathing may be all wrong. Lying on the steps and smoking, Han Qian sighed. A marriage certificate from King Hu, a warm wedding, and my mother's child. You will definitely see Luo Shen when you go to the capital. Lu Shenga, this grandson, must be dealt with before he can retire. I've dated this guy a few times and argued and played games, but I don't have time. I'm afraid he's also struggling with how we should deal with each other, right? It's weird when the child monster drinks too much at Aunt G's house. Her head pays 8 attentions per second. How can she hold in a good fart? There's no need to worry about Yushasai. How do Yates's parents explain it? How do they shut up nursery rhymes parents? Why bother with these girls? I'm definitely sick, but there's no good medicine to cure it. King Hu should be regarded as the chief prosecutor after becoming a first-class special prosecutor, right? Is she 28 or 29 years old? She is not young anymore. Why was she stopped? What should I do with the child? I don't like children. Your Majesty's character will go crazy after being tortured by a child for 3 days. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Lying on the steps and thinking non-stop, Wei Tiancheng stood in the office, opened the window and stuck his head out to look at the little overlord lying on the steps. He was curious about what was thinking in the little overlord's head. If he knew he was thinking about these nonsense, he would probably laugh out loud. It turns out that he also has troubles that he can't solve. After lying on the steps for 2 hours, his back hurt. It wasn't until the two guys appeared in front of him that Han Qian stood up. Su Hongchang bent forward to help his young master, and Han Qian waved to Kui Li. Go, 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 go find a girl to fall in love with. Why are you always hanging around me? Kui Li lowered his head and said nothing, while Su Hongchang laughed in a low voice. Master, why are you lying here? It's so cold. I'm annoyed, Lao Su. I'm so annoyed. Find a coast where I can fish, and I'll give myself half a day off. Okay, master. Not long after, 3 women appeared at Longhuatu, a pier extending into the sea. All 3 men were holding cigarettes in their mouths and fishing rods in their hands, fishing quietly. As darkness approached, Han Qian sighed. Not a single fish. Su Hongchang whispered. Master, Yao Guangda is dead. As expected, keep fishing, otherwise the 3 of us will be hungry at night. Died. He should have died long ago. Living too long is not good for humans or dogs. After the divorce, the ex-wife became a creditor. Author, Ahuan. Chapter 937. Entering summer, the weather in Binhai has also become a bit hot. Jing always feels that something is wrong with her body recently, and the nursery rhymes are also wrong, something very special is wrong. Not only does she often come to the house to cook, but she also keeps asking if she has been with Han Qian recently. Jing was too lazy to talk to her, just thinking that the weather was hot and her body was not used to it. Spring is the resurrection of all things, and summer is the season when all things awaken. The flowers on the roadside are in full bloom, and the willow trees are hanging down their branches. The girls put on cool shorts and held up sun umbrellas. Yan Qingqing's hair became longer and dyed burgundy, and she appeared in the company again with a hip-covering skirt and high heels. All the old employees in Glory knew that Mr. Yan was not allowed to be provoked or even looked at during the season. Han Qian was also frightened by Yan Qingqing and hid in the general department instead of going to her office. With the air conditioner blowing, eating popsicles, and watching movies, life is very comfortable. Boom. A stack of documents was thrown on the table by Yang Lan. Sister Yang, who was wearing a blue waist dress, became more and more attractive, like a ripe peach. Tang Wei's death made her completely get rid of that shadow. Lu Zhuolong's eyes were straight. Sometimes Han Qian envies Lu Zhuolong. His life is really comfortable, he goes to work, looks at the woman he likes, and that's it. Little Han Qian. Mr. Yan said that if you don't go over, you will have to complete all these documents. Han Qian took off his headphones and shook his head at Yang Lan. I don't dare to go now. Yesterday I said that high heels were not safe, and she said that I disliked her for being short. Last night, Wen Nuan and I had another quarrel. If I go now, I'm looking for death. I won't go, I'm doing my job. Yang Lan covered her head and sighed helplessly. What a shame, Mr. Yan has such a bad temper. You'd better not go there yet. The head of the planning department was scolded so badly just now, and Song Jing was scolded to the point of tears. After saying this, Lu Zhuolong smiled. Qian, why don't you go over and save us from the fire and water? Han Qian said angrily. I didn't scold me when I went, she beat me. Suliang couldn't help laughing. Then everyone in the general department walked to Han Qian's desk and took away a document. Everyone helped, and the process was done quickly. Yang Lan stood behind Han Qian, holding his hand. Shoulder, this scared Han Qian, Lian Sheng said. Sister Yang, please stop, I feel uneasy. Yang Lan gently patted Han Qian's head and whispered. What happened to Xiao Yangjia's car? Why did Jingjing's car fall into her hands? Closing his eyes and enjoying Sister Yang's kneading, Han Qian whispered. That car is just idle. Xiao Yangjia has to be scolded more than 20 times a day. It makes me feel more comfortable to have a car. Besides, Jingjing's car is all decorated with women, so I don't feel comfortable driving it. Yang Lan whispered. Don't you have several little brothers and sisters? I gave Kexan a sum of money. I didn't have time to take care of them, so I only gave some financial support. I didn't dare to give too much because I was worried that the man would have money to change his wife. You really don't want to go to Mr. Yan? No, she is just trying to quarrel with me now. It will be fine after she gets used to the hot weather. What did you say about Xiao Baibei fighting with someone a while ago? How about you find a father for Xiao Baibei? Looking for dad? Now Xiao Baibei has started to talk back to me. If he disagrees with me, he will go to his uncle. Don't worry about my affairs. Just mind yourself. Sister Yang, please press it for me again. It feels very comfortable. Yang Lan turned around and smiled. At this time, Lu Zhuolong stood up and said with a smile. Qian'er, dragon power therapy is here. No. Deputy Lu, is it too late for me to admit my mistake? It's too late, let's wait and see. No matter how capable Han Qian is or how powerful he is in Binhai, in the general department, he is the little Han Qian in Lu Zhuolong's mouth, Han Qian in the mouth of other colleagues, and brother Qian'er in Yao Shue's mouth. The most taboo thing for people is forgetting their roots. Some people have a temper when they have money. In this way, if you have money, what you lose cannot be replaced by money. On the road, a red convertible car was driving slowly and leisurely on the road. A woman was wearing a large pink sun hat. The brim of the hat was decorated with many small red flowers. She was very delicate. She also had a pair of oversized sunglasses and a pair similar to Yang Ian's goose yellow body-shaping dress. The colors of the people and the car were very bright, and an English song was playing in the car. Don't push me. Translated into Chinese, it probably means don't touch me. I am the kind of girl who loves to leave easily and teases boys. I'm a perfect candidate for a one-night stand. Yes, I'm suffocating to death. Am I cheap enough? I don't care if the rose you gave me smells good. The translation of several lyrics into Chinese is like this, very explicit and bold. This is what she wanted to express. Singing along with the music, the pronunciation and momentum were very professional, especially the bitch sound. While waiting for the light to turn green, she could still squirm in the car to the music, and occasionally wink at the young man in a passing couple, causing the other person to panic. The young couple quarreled, but she didn't care at all whether the other person would break up. It's summer, have fun. He threw down a business card, made a phone call gesture to the young man, and then walked away. After leaving the scene of the incident, I stopped on the side of the road to apply lipstick in the mirror, when the phone rang. Wu Sijuan. Are you sick? Why don't you leave my phone number when you go out to flirt? Gao Xin Chen roared on the phone, and Wu Siquan chuckled. Accident. This is definitely an accident. I will keep Lu Guangming tomorrow. I have to thank my elder brother for the sports car he sent me. There is a bit of a story when it comes to this sports car. Lu Guangming had no time to watch the live broadcast and bought more than a dozen sports cars. Wu Siguan happened to be present at the time, and Jiao Didi imitated the cooing voice of the anchor. Thank you for the sports car sent by my brother. Lu Guangming was so ashamed that in order to stop Wu Siguan from shouting in his ear, he gave him a real car. Wu Siguan and he were not polite, went to bars and went shopping, and all the numbers they left were high quality. Listening to the silence on the phone, Wu Siguan kissed the phone. Mew Ma, don't be angry. I will definitely not leave your phone number. That was the last one just now. I'm looking for fun. I don't believe I can't find a little scholar with a red face and white teeth. Gao Xin Cheng hung up the phone directly. Wu Siquan restarted the car and shouted. Wow 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 wow, rush. Rush like little cuties. The car started again, but this time it was no longer going at a tortuous pace. It was speeding all the way, whether there was a speed limit or not. Ms. Wu didn't care about it at all. She went to Wanfang to complain about the demerit points and took her driver's license to deduct points. If it really doesn't work anymore, just give brother Qian'er a call and be coquettish, and everything will be fine. Half an hour later, the car stopped at the door of a logistics cargo station. Wu Siquan turned around and leaned on the car door with his chin in his hands. There was a young man at the logistics cargo station wearing a white vest, but at this time the vest was already stained by the goods. With a towel around his neck. They kept pushing the goods with a trolley, and then put these half-person high boxes into the car. It was the hottest time at 1 o'clock, and the young man's skin was tanned and red in several places, as if he had been sunburned. The young man moved back and forth for 2 hours without paying attention to the red convertible parked on the roadside. When the young man pushed out the last box, a smile appeared on his face. During his senior year internship, he gave up the opportunity to work as a white-collar worker in a company, preferring to have a big fight with his counselor and choose another path. Boys, look more at the outside world, and there is nothing wrong with suffering a little more. Looking at the last box in front of him, the young man took a deep breath, picked up the box and was about to put it in the car. Maybe the box was too heavy or the weather was too hot. The young man made a mistake when lifting it high. The box went backwards above his head, and his body lost its center of gravity. The two of them fell to the ground together with the goods. The young man couldn't stand up for a while. He felt that his waist was about to break. But thinking about the sacrifices of the girl he once loved the most, what does this mean to him? Gritting his teeth, he stood up and looked at the box that fell to the ground. The young man's expression changed. A box of bearings was scattered on the ground. Some of the packaging was broken, and some even the beads inside had fallen off. The young man was a little panicked. At this time, the proprietress of the goods station ran out, looked at the goods scattered on the ground, pointed at the young man's nose and yelled. "What did you do? This box of bearings is the most expensive of all the goods. Even if you, a bastard like you, are tired to death, you can't afford to pay for it. What should you do? What do you think we should do?" The young man looked at the bearing on the ground, and then at the Bosnian. He took out a handful of change from his pocket and whispered. "Including my salary for this month, I'll pay." The proprietress slapped the change out of the young man's hand and continued to curse, no matter how hard it sounded, but her meaning never changed. He would come with this box of goods and contact the other company herself. It had nothing to do with her cargo station. The young man went to ask for a phone number in a lowly manner. The landlady took out her business card and handed it to him. Then she scolded him again. The workers who rushed out to watch the excitement had sneers in their eyes. Just when the young man was about to take out his mobile phone, a beautiful figure stopped him. His hand then waved and landed on the landlady's face. "Are you worthy of scolding my Xiao Ran Ran?" After saying that, Wu Sijuan took the business card and dialed the phone number. "I, Wu Siquan, threw your bearings from Qingping Logistics into the river. If you let me know that you are using Qingping Logistics from now on, I will throw your company into the river." After hanging up the phone and looking at the workers and the stunned boss lady, Wu Siquan said angrily. "Look at your mother. I, Wu Sijuan, this is my business card. Anyone who has a temper, is dissatisfied, or wants to cause me trouble can come to me at any time." Not only were the people present stunned, Xiao Ran Ran's eyes were also full of sluggishness. He never thought in his life that this girl would take the initiative to hold his hand again. Wu Sijuan reached out and took off Xiao Ran Ran's vest. Looking at the 2 marks on his shoulders, Wu Sijuan's eyes were filled with distress. He took Xiao Ran Ran's hand and turned around to leave. Xiao Ran Ran said the first sentence. "My clothes. No, no, no more, I'll buy it for you. Whatever you want, I'll buy it for you. Be good. From now on, we won't have to suffer like this anymore, and we won't suffer from this injustice." Pulling Xiao Ran Ran into the car, the red supercar sped away under the dull eyes of the landlady and workers. He went to the drugstore to buy spray and plaster for bruises. Looking at Xiao Ran Ran's sunburn, Wu Siquan asked in a low voice. "Why didn't you do an internship in the company? Any company in Binhai will open a back door for you." With the plaster on her waist, Xiao Ran took a breath and said weakly. I want to stay in Binhai, I want to watch you from a distance, I don't want to go to the company, and I'm worried that it will affect your reputation. You are not married yet, and your ex-boyfriend can't always be around your friends, and I don't want to work for them. You and they are friends and I don't want to be their subordinate. Wu Sijuan held Xiao Ran's tanned face and said softly with distressed eyes. Are you stupid? Why are you staying in Binhai to watch me? Look carefully. You'll get tired of it after watching it for a long time. Xiao Ran smiled innocently. I can't see enough, I can't see enough in a lifetime. Then I'll let you watch it forever. Let's go. Take my Xiao Ran to buy a handsome suit and comb her hair like an adult.